everyone, I just wanted to share my travel log with you. Our group's just starting this month, so I chose inspirational people, real people in your life that have made, an impact on your life and the way you think. So this is my book, and it was just an old vintage book, and I took all the pages out of it. And I had a really hard time binding it. I just never done it before, and I wanted it to be right, but I tried using this ring binder, but it didn't work. So I ended up taking it out and doing like an accordion fold binding, which still isn't perfect, but that's all right. It's art, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. So what I did here was I painted the whole book with gesso first, and then I painted it like a turquoise color, and then splotches of the rusty color in, and then I crackle painted over the whole thing with like a vintage white, and put some, I think it was vintage photo ink over the whole thing, just rubbed it on. This is one of the Michael's dollar, well, it used to be a dollar, frames, and I just took out the whole guts of it, and I glued it on with Gorilla Glue before I painted anything, so it just kind of looks like it's all part of the book. And then up here, it's really hard to see on the video, but I used some metal corners, and I did the same thing with that. I glued them on with my hot glue gun and then painted over them with the gesso and everything, just to make it look like part of the book. On the spine, I left the title of the book because I liked it. It's called The Book of Life. So I left that part alone and just painted, over the author's name and stuff, but I left parts of the book that looked cool to me. The back is just painted the same as the front. And then I took a piece. It was really hard for me to find a piece of screen. I don't know why. I wanted it to be hard. But of course, all the screen that I could find was like a critter guard to keep the animals out of going under your house. It was like $2. I just cut it up. And of course, it's galvanized, so I couldn't get it to rust. So I used some alcohol inks and Tim Holtz, this one, the Distress embossing powder. This one's the vintage photo, but it's the one that looks the most like rust to me. And I think it came out pretty rusty looking. You can't really tell on here, but... And then inside there, I made a heart out of Fimo, and I stamped it, and then I rubbed it with like Pearl X, or one of those pearly things. I don't know if you can see it there. You can kind of see it. So I ended up gluing that to a little frame box that somebody gave me in a rack, if you can see that, just so it looks finished. So when the book is open, it's not just like a big hole. It's all finished off, and I just put bling juice on that. And this is the new Bow Bunny. I don't know what it's called, but that's what I made my pages out of. And then my book is about real people, like I said, who've inspired you to be a better person. So basically that's what that says there. And then I have tags up here, oops, for people to sign in when it goes to the next person. And then I just put some, this is printed on some type of printable fabric. I don't know what it is, but just says, before I started working as a special education teacher, blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't really want to read it out loud, but basically how these kids have taught me, probably more than I've taught them. They just work so hard, and they're just great. So they've just taught me a lot in the 5 years that I've worked there. And so here's a picture of my kids, and there's me in the back. That's Cari and Michael and Maddie. and Christian, Chiama, Jameson, and Cari. There's a couple of kids that weren't there that day, but that's most of them. And Chiama, she's been with me for the whole time I've been at school. She's been in my class, so they're really special to me. So that's the my pages that I'm putting in. And this little dancer down here, I put her in there because I said that one of the most important things that they've taught me is how to dance like no one's watching, because, you know, they are some of the happiest kids I've ever seen, and people always say, oh, it's so sad, but it's not sad. They're not sad. They're happy, and, you know, I don't know. It's just a good place to work. I like it. So that is my little dancer that's dancing like no one's watching. And I added this cascading, what do you call this, waterfall or cascading pages or whatever, because I'm going to put a picture of just each one of them in here, you know, and talk about them individually instead of as a group. So I ended up taking 2 pages of my travelogue, but the rest of it is just, this is my screw up here too, holes, because I started out, you know, binding it, and that didn't work, so, or binding it with the binding ring, and it just didn't work. So the holes ended up showing, but I don't care. So that's that, and it's just these are watercolor paper, and then just every other page is a Bow Bunny page, and then this is the accordion binding. You know, you slip it in and glue it down on each one. So that is my travelogue, and it is going out today, and hopefully my group has fun working on it and finding somebody they find inspirational that has changed their lives, like my kids in my class have changed mine. So thanks for watching. Bye.